Welcome back. The House Armed Services Committee briefed by Secretary of State Marco Rubio yesterday. This about the fate of Iran's stockpile of near bomb-grade uranium. Meanwhile, the House Rules Committee voting to advance the $1.1 trillion defense budget bill to the floor for debate. The Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, told me on Sunday he plans to combine Pentagon funding with the Save America Act and send it to the Senate as one piece of legislation. But Republicans are facing an uphill battle to regain control of the House floor after Florida Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna led a blockade on the floor. She said Johnson's plan is not sufficient. She wants the Senate to pass Save America Act. Joining me now is Texas Congressman Pat Fallon. He sits on the House Armed Services Committee and is a U.S. Air Force veteran. Congressman, as I always, thank you for your great service to this great nation. I'll do it again. We appreciate your work. What can you tell us about the briefing?
Well, you know, we all want to see the Save America Act passed. The NDAA is a separate function of that. And, you know, Iran's in a perilous position, and the United States is, believe it or not, in a strong position. And I know if you read a lot of the mainstream media, they don't want to acknowledge that, but that is the case. And we also know that the regime isn't to be trusted. So any agreement needs to be a trust but verify. And I think Secretary Rubio, more than anyone, is aware of that.
Well, I mean, the defense package is clearly needed. I mean, we have depleted our weapons. What are your thoughts in terms of the defense package? Are you supportive of what the Pentagon is asking?
100%. I mean, this is the largest single piece of legislation as far as monetary value that's been passed in history, or it will be. It was passed out of committee, but we're going to vote on it today. $1.15 trillion. We need to expand our deterrence. We need to increase our military defense. This does have a pay increase for our soldiers and sailors and airmen, and that's something that I think is vital as well. But it's it's an increasingly dangerous world, Maria, and it's shrinking every day as well. And we have to counter the threats that North Korea, China, Russia, Iran, and others present.
Oh, I understand that fully, but we're also trying to ensure that we have safe elections. I mean, the Supreme Court made a ruling 5-4 that states can accept mail-in ballots up to 5 days after the federal election day is over. President Trump posted on Truth Social soon after the result. The fact that people's votes are allowed to be counted long after an election is over, writes the president, it is more important than ever to pass the Save America Act. President Trump has made this his top agenda item, and yet the Senate continues to blow it off. The bill has been held up in the Senate for months now. Speaker Mike Johnson joined me on Sunday, and here's what he said about the delay in the Senate. Watch. The Senate is gone until July 13th. They left without even a budget released. It's hard to think anything really gets done beyond that $87.6 billion supplemental for defense, especially since the parliamentarian already said, look, you've got to prove that you're actually looking at spending cuts if you're going to put the Save America Act in there.
That's right, and we've been looking at that very carefully, and we'll send them over a provision that fits and passes the bird test, as they call it over there, with the parliamentarian. And look, I met with Leader Thune. He's a good man. He's got a big challenge on his hands, of course, and I've encouraged him to do everything possible within his power to move it. I believe he will, Maria. He understands how important that is as well. Election integrity is critical. It's central. You know, we talk about preserving the republic. You got to have free and fair elections in order to do that, and we can't allow big blue states and crooked, Democrat governors to try to steal elections away from us. And
Congressman, your reaction?
No, to be clear, Maria, I'm absolutely in favor of attaching the Save America Act with the NDA because it is so vital. And to quote my very good friend and soon-to-be next governor of Florida, Byron Donalds, the Senate sucks. Why in the world have they not put this? I think they should have done a walking filibuster with it, and they certainly can attach it to the Save America Act to the NDA. And if the Senate parliamentarian, for whatever reason, does overrule it or does try to throw it out, they can overrule that, and they still have the filibuster intact. So this is absolutely something vital, and the president is right as well. The Supreme Court got it wrong that you are going to allow people to accept ballots after Election Day. That makes absolutely no sense, and it really makes a mockery of our republic.
Yeah, but you recently introduced the Espionage Protection Act. It would amend the National Security Act of 1947, prohibit federal funding for intelligence programs at universities, which maintain contractual relationships with organizations tied to the CCP. And this is very dangerous. Tell us more.
No, it's absolutely dangerous. I mean, you had the head of the chemistry department in Harvard, Charles Lieber, investigated and charged. And lo and behold, we find that the United States gave him $15 million for research, and he had a Chinese bank account. There's too many instances, there's scores of them across the country where Chinese students are coming over and stealing secrets, or they're co-opting American citizens. So if you're linked with the Confucius Institute, the Thousand Talents program, or certain Chinese universities that are dominated by the CCP, you're no longer going to be eligible for funding from the intelligence community in this country.
Yeah, but I mean, how is it possible that if you're talking about the CCP undermining America over and over again from all ends, that we would be funding that to begin with?
People have been asleep at the switch. I mean, 20 years ago, I say 20 years ago, but there were many people that believed that if we can integrate economically with China, then the world will be safer and there'll be a good actor on the world stage. That has proven to be completely false. And then you have people like Joe Biden, as recently as a few years ago, saying that a strong and vibrant economic China is in the United States' best interest. No, it's not, because they are showing clearly that their intent is, global hegemony, and we have got to counter that. And this is one good first step and to do that.
Yeah. So let me get your take on what happens next, Congressman, in terms of policy, because, you only have a couple of days here in terms of legislative days left before certainly the August recess, but certainly the midterm elections as well. Realistically speaking, what do you think gets done?
Realistically, I do think, Maria, that, I can only speak for the House, and I pray that the Senate will follow suit, but I think we can pass our 10 appropriations bills. I think we will pass the NDAA. Certainly, the Save America Act will pass out of the House again, and then it's up to the Senate to get it done on their end. So I am cautiously optimistic. I'm the perpetual optimist. I mean, if I fell out of a 60th floor building at the 40th floor, you'd hear me say, so good so far. So we'll see how it goes.
All right, Congressman, we'll be watching. Thanks so much. Happy 4th of July.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Maria.
Congressman Pat Fallon.